Hi, everyone. I'm Caitlin McGrayus, founder of Be Her Village, and today I have with me Dr. Lorraine Valenti of Balanced Life Chiropractic and Bethpage. Thanks for joining us, Dr.
Hi,
Valenti.
thanks for having me. This is my first Zoom interview, so I'm very excited.
Yes, you look great. We were just talking about how it's a great reason to get dressed for the day, right?
Yes, I've been home for a few weeks now, so it's kind of nice I was up early and did my hair and everything like that.
Wonderful. It's always good to have a little bit of a routine for sure. So one of the reasons I wanted to ask you onto this is because a lot of people are, including myself, are working from home, and me and my husband, right? So I'm used to working on a computer all day, but he's a teacher and a special ed teacher. So he's up and active and never sitting and always with his kids and always moving.
Sure.
And suddenly he's been thrust into, and I think a lot of people have been thrust into this, working from home, everything is virtual, slumped on the couch,
100%, yeah.
and our backs are hurting. So
Yeah.
I don't think we're alone. So I wanted to hear from you about how to help that.
The reason why I think this is so important too, and it can help people, is because now that we're home, we can't do things that we usually do to keep ourselves balanced. We can't go get our adjustments or go for acupuncture, go for our massage, go for our yoga unless we're doing it at home. And so there's a lot of more tension in that way on our bodies. So maybe with some tips and things we're going to talk about today, I can kind of help people relieve some of that tension and stress on their body.
Absolutely.
And that'll help you feel better overall. So when there's less tension on our body, we feel better, we can focus better and manage our lives better. So
Absolutely. And there's such a connection between mind body. I think somehow a long time ago it got split into mental health and physical health, but part of what I love about chiropractic care is it's both, right? It's releasing that anxiety and that stress through the body and giving it sort of an outlet so that it can move.
Definitely. And I find I'm not seeing as many patients now, but I know people are really saying it's really hard to manage everything. The work-life balance is really out the window now, right? Trying to be with families where two parents working from home or one parent working from home, taking care of the kids. It's a lot. So what I've been thinking about what can we do? And I find that right now, a lot of the things are we feel everything's out of our control. We can't control a lot going on in the outside world. But I think it's important to focus on what we can control in our life, right? Things that we could manage and be proactive about. And so with chiropractic, there's 5 facets of health, right? So there's proper rest and nutrition. And I'm sorry, I talk with my hands. I can't help it.
Okay. That's why it's a video.
Proper rest and recuperation, right? Proper nutrition. These are taking high quality supplements and eating a well-balanced diet as much as we can during this time.
I was going to say, that does not sound like what's happening in quarantine, at least not in my house.
No, me neither. And then there's positive mental attitude, right? I posted on my Facebook page yesterday, Headspace is offering free service to all New Yorkers. So there's a great wealth of information on there. Exercise, right? Going for walks. I've been going for a lot of walks. We're doing yoga at home. And then where I come in is a properly functioning nervous system. So keeping your spine aligned, right, during the quarantine. So that's pretty much things that we can control, and that it might help us feel a little bit better during this time when we're feeling really stressed out.
That's great. I love that you went over the 5 facets, because it's really not just about getting an adjustment and going on about your life. It is about having the adjustment be part of a greater
exactly
care.
Yeah, it's true.
The rest of the things that you mentioned, the rest, the mental health, the attitude, the healthy eating, those are all things that we can do. What kinds of things can we do to stay aligned home without access to you? Right?
So that's good. So one of the things is people now are setting up home workstations, right? Okay. So, but for us and for our kids, because what I've noticed is that there's a lot of talk about, which I'm going to go over for adults, setting up a good home workstation, but then the kids who are usually in school now are sitting at home at the computer. So I'm going to also bring in a little bit about that and how we can help our kids.
Okay, great.
So the first thing really is, as much as our couches are comfortable and we want to sit on the couch and lounge and work, it's not that good, because our spine, when we're sitting on the couch, tends to be very flexed, right? So you have 3 curves in your spine, your cervical, thoracic, and the lumbar. And when we're sitting and we're flexing, there's a lot of pressure on the discs and the nerves and the muscles and everything like that. So you want to sit, and we're going to talk about sitting and standing today. I'm going to talk about that. So you want to kind of find a space like the kitchen table or your dining room table, and you want to set up your laptop so that the monitor is eye level, so you're looking straight ahead at it. And you can use books, you can use old books, you can use maybe, you know, boxes of pasta or anything that you have at home to prop up that screen so that it's at eye level. And the other thing that you want to do is you want to have a 90-degree angle at your knee and your hip and your elbows. So I know it's really hard because you're working with things at home that you're creating a space for yourself. So as much to 90 degrees as you can get at the knee, hip, and elbow. And what you can do is if the chair is sometimes too low or too high, I recommend to people to put something underneath your feet. Like I always say like an old phone book, but they really don't make those anymore.
Like, wait, what's a phone book?
I know, that shows my age, right? But like a box that you get from Amazon.
I was going to say like an Amazon box.
Yeah. So you can put that under your feet, and that'll help elevate your feet a little bit so that you bring them up to a 90-degree angle. Another thing you can do is also want to try and use a mouse, because if you're typing on the laptop, sometimes it can really affect your wrists. Or using that little mouse pad, that can affect your wrists. So it's good to have a separate mouse. And so that's as far as sitting.
I love that. If you don't mind me just jumping in, as you're talking about this, I wish I could show you. I have 3 boxes, so my laptop.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I was not thinking of it ergonomically. I was thinking more angles and chin. But you know, like when it's really low and it's just like you have 100 chins on your Zoom call. I don't want to do that. And I'm also sitting at my son's table because as I told you, I was late to our meeting because I needed to find like one clean corner. There's no clean corners. But I'm in like his child chair, but it really makes like a perfect 90 degrees for my knees. So I accidentally found a very ergonomic place for our ergonomic chat.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So you got it down.
I do. I love it.
So I also recommend standing. Standing desks is really popular right now. People are at work in the offices are starting to stand. So at home, why not create a standing workstation so that you can go between sitting and standing? And again, you want to prop the monitor or your laptop so that it's actually, now you want it to be at the top of the monitor to be at eye level or just below. Okay, so it's a little bit lower. And you want to make sure you're standing straight so you have good posture, because I know sometimes when we stand, we tend to lean and do this. And over time, that's not good, because that
especially people who are holding babies.
Exactly,
When I had infants was always like, you switch the baby on sides. And I'm like, no, I'm a lefty. The baby literally always goes on the left.
Not always. And I'll show you some stretches that you can do to kind of counterbalance that. But yeah, definitely that affects it. One thing I wanted to say also is when you use that Amazon box, you can use it when you're standing so that you can put it under your foot, because sometimes if you bend one knee slightly, it takes the pressure off your lower spine. Because it loosens the muscles in your the quadricep and the hamstring are loosened when you have it slightly bent. And so I tell a lot of my patients that are cashiers, so for the grocery store workers that are working at the cash register, they're standing all day long, they can put a box underneath their foot when they're working to help take the pressure off their back.
Such a great tip. It seems so simple, but it makes
helps.
a difference. That's great.
And same thing, when you're standing, you kind of want to have a 90-degree angle at the elbow so that you're typing that way.
Excellent. I love it. And what about for kids? Is there something different for kids or something else you suggest? Like, what about sitting on a ball if people have birth balls or yoga balls?
Yeah, those are great. So birth balls are great to sit on because it's really helps strengthen your core too while you're working. They have those chairs that have a ball on top, but I know now people aren't going to want to go out and buy new things. But if you have a ball, I think that's a great tool to utilize.
Excellent.
And for kids, so you see there's a pillow here. We put a pillow on the back of this chair because when my stepson does his homework at the computer, that's when I realized that kids were being affected. So they're kind of sitting slumped and then their necks are starting to bother them. So putting a pillow here to help with a chair that has a depth to it that might not suit a child, can help bring them forward and help them sit up a little bit better.
That's such a great, useful tip for something
Yeah.
that we all have
Okay.
in our houses.
Yeah.
That's great. And I know,
And
yeah, go ahead.
no, I was going to say, like with kids, it helps them become mindful about sitting straight if they have something behind their back.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of kids, like we talked yesterday with Laura Otten and Evelyn Page about the stress of parents and homeschooling. And I think a lot of kids are probably getting physically tired from all of the hunching and all of the screens.
Sure.
Yeah, that's great. So a pillow behind them.
On their lower back, yeah. Like
Okay.
a little throw pillow or something will help. Yeah.
Just to keep them a little bit more upright.
Yeah. And another thing that I found is a lot of times, sometimes when you're home now, people have like the headsets, right? So the noise doesn't bother. But with the kids, you want to make sure they're not having the volume too high, because over time it can really hurt their hearing. So you want to kind of keep an eye on the volume that the kids are using to listen to stuff.
Definitely. That's a really good tip. I remember when I was buying for kindergarten, I was buying like headphones for their iPads at school, and they had like volume caps on it, which is really great. I think adults probably need that too.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, so that's wonderful.
And so what about people like me and my husband who are getting all of this amazing advice a little too late? We're not.
I know.
But what about for the person who's listening who already has a sore back and will implement all those things? What can they do before they can get out to a chiropractor? What can they do to feel a little better?
So there's definitely some stretches that you can do. So I'm going to kind of stand up and show you a few stretches visually.
Okay, great. I love it.
Okay. And I chose really very easy stretches that you can kind of do at home. So let's see. So the first stretch, really what you want to do is you want to kind of just stand straight, right? So breathing is always really important. And that's why I love yoga, because it always incorporates breathing with the stretches. So the first one just to do is kind of just stand straight, tuck your stomach in, right? And your tailbone down, and take a deep breath in and out, right? It's kind of like the tree pose in yoga. Then the second stretch you want to do is just you want to bring your arms up, take a deep breath in, and bring your arms up and kind of stretch side to side, right? Because that's really good for when you're standing with your baby on the hip, or standing and you're kind of leaning. These muscles tend to get tight, so this will help stretch that out. And then after you do that stretch, I recommend taking your hands up behind your neck, right? To the muscles in the top of the neck here.
Okay.
And I always recommend to my patients, just gently massage the top of the cervical spine as well. And then what you do is you kind of come back, right? So that's the way the normal curve in the neck works. So it supports the curve in the neck, and it's a really good stretch.
That feels so good.
And, if you feel pain, or if you feel pinching or numbness when you do it, don't do it. But generally, that's a good stretch to do.
That feels amazing.
Yeah, good. And then the other stretch I like to show people is we remember the shoulder circles, right?
It's like gym class.
Yeah. And then the other one is I call the thumbs up stretch. So you can take your thumbs, right? So what happens is when we sit down, we tend to curve in, right? Mm-hmm. So you want to take your thumbs and point them up, and then bring them all the way out. And what that does, it opens the arms. So the arms usually are in, so we're opening them out.
Like this external rotation. Awesome.
And keeping the shoulders down, and just stretch that way.
I feel my shoulder blades coming together in the back.
So those are pretty good stretches to do.
I love that.
The last stretch for I love for the whole spine is the cat-cow stretch, right?
Yes.
So I recommend that. So that you can look online and can look up cat-cow. And that's a really good stretch when you breathe in and breathe out. You're getting movement into the whole spine.
Excellent.
A side note from pregnant ladies, I recommend the cat stretch, right?
Okay.
But I don't recommend the cow, which is where you kind of dip in. Right?
Where your belly goes down?
Yeah.
Too much stress.
Too much stress on the spine. So pregnant ladies, just do the cat stretch. It's a really good stretch.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Dr. Valenti.
Caitlin, this is
such good information. I really appreciate you joining us. Thank you so much.
Me. I really appreciate it.
I think you nailed your first Zoom.
Yes, I was so nervous.